Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we've got a really exciting one for you. Nickel Mining Corp. This one's involved in the battery metals space, and as we've seen in prior videos, there's a lot of investor attention around this sector. Now before we get into that, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join. And let me know in the comment section below if you're currently holding shares of FLYN Nickel, what your thoughts are on the battery metals space in general, and your outlook for next year. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be profiling Nickel Mining Corporation, trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the ticker FLYN, and on the OTCQB in the United States under the ticker FLYNF. And this is as of close on Friday, November 17th. You can see they were up 5% on the day to close out at 10.5 cents or 10.5 cents Canadian. Now I've got a 1-year chart pulled up here. You can see they're trading along pretty strong support, really established in that 8 or 9 cent range, with a 12-month high set back on February 6th at 23.5 cents Canadian. Now we've talked extensively about the EV revolution and correspondingly the battery metal stocks related to that revolution on the channel, and this one caught my attention, number one, because it was brought up by a subscriber, and number two, because we haven't specifically talked about a lot of nickel focused companies on the channel. Now this is a report or article that was put out by Sprott Asset Management back in March of this year, and it's titled Nickel, a Battery Metal Powering the EV Revolution. So I wanted to quickly jump into this just to explain how important and integral nickel is to the widespread adoption and manufacturing process related to electric vehicles, of which nickel is one of the critical minerals or materials needed for this production. Now, nickel is associated with stainless steel production itself. However, a higher grade of nickel is actually required for electrification, in transportation, and clean energy storage solutions. And interestingly enough, nickel is the most important metal by mass in the lithium-ion battery cathodes. And that's what's used by EV manufacturers for hybrid and battery electric vehicles. Now, we're not going to go into the specifics of this battery construction. However, it is estimated that nickel demand for use in EVs and battery storage may increase in the neighborhood of 20 times or 20x from 2020 to 2040, potentially making this one of the most sought after minerals for the clean energy transition or revolution we're currently witnessing. Now with that being said and the backdrop painted on a macro scale, I wanted to jump over to FLYN Nickel's corporate website. I'll leave this linked in the video description below and give you guys a high-level introduction in terms of what this company is all about. So up top, you can see the tickers both on the Venture and the OTC in the United States. And if we look at the About Us section, you can see this is a Canadian mining company with a flagship property by the name of the Minago project, located in the Thompson nickel belt in the province of Manitoba here in Canada. Now this is one of the world's largest high-grade open-pit optimized nickel sulphide deposits, and Minago contains 722 million pounds of indicated nickel resource, roughly equal to the amount of nickel that would be required in 10 million Tesla Model 3 vehicle batteries. So FLYN Nickel's goal is to supply the electric vehicle industry with high-performance battery ingredients that are 100% made here in Canada with low carbon emissions. And as we're going to see throughout the corporate presentation, the focal point of this organization is really on this pristine Minago project. Now they kick off with some of the presentation highlights talking about the Minago grade, location, as we mentioned in the Thompson nickel belt, the size of the asset, again 722 million pounds measured and indicated, with over $50 million spent on exploration since the year 2000. Now they then go on to talk about some of the assay results completed by FLYN in this year and Platinum Group Metals or PGM in September, and the nickel concentration rates, 20% premium nickel concentrate produced on site, which is almost double the threshold grade for smelters around the world. Not to mention the potential feed for nickel sulfate plants for EV battery production to bypass traditional smelting altogether. They also highlight one of the lowest carbon footprints in the world at 1%, in part due to Manitoba's reliance on hydropower, and the ability or potential ability to get this nickel to market by the year 2028, which is one of only a handful greenfield nickel sulphide projects that could hit the market before 2030. And that's really a result of that high grade, the open pit formation in Manitoba, and would require a construction decision in 2024. Now we're going to take a look at management team towards the end of the presentation and this merger with Nevada Vanadium to close things out. Now the grades found at Minago are some of the highest in the world at 0.74% nickel. We just talked about the large size greenfield open pit formation, which is optimized for nickel sulphide projects here in North America, and its location in the Thompson nickel belt in Manitoba. Now what's nice here is there's already infrastructure in place with a provincial highway running through the project and access to a 230 kilovolt hydroelectric power line within 2 kilometers of the site. And here's a comparison of the grades found at the Flying Nickel location compared to some of the others operating here in Canada. So you can see Nickel Shaw Canada in second place with only 0.27% found at their location. Now in terms of the Minago resource itself, you can see regardless of the type, whether open pit or underground, you're seeing those high nickel concentrations and some additional visualizations or maps of the exploration process itself at this site. Now for those of you with a mining and exploration background, you can also go in and look at the assay results based on each one of the individual holes, along with some of the additional company details. Now in terms of infrastructure, you can see the maps of the transportation network shown here on the left, including that provincial highway and hydro line or power line, along with a timeline on the right of the exploration at this site to date. So it really ranged back to the 1960s when AMAX Exploration discovered the site. Blackhawk Resources then moved in the late 80s, early 90s. Victory Nickel was involved in the early 2000s. For a combined spend of approximately $53 million. Then fast forward to 2021, Silver Elephant acquired Minago for $20 million. They spun that out into Flying Nickel. And then most recently, some of the activity that took place last year and this year being the PGM resource, the IBA, and the Environmental Act license. So looking forward, you can see a number of decisions, including an FS, construction, which we talked about, and a concentrate shipment plan taking place before 2027. Now the two other things I wanted to talk about in today's presentation were number one, the leadership team here. So CEO John Lee, he's got 20 years experience in mining, raised over $120 million in the capital markets, and happens to be the founder of Flying Nickel back in 2021, as we just talked about. The COO has over 30 years experience in mining as both a mine manager and a senior project manager of the Thompson operation, and they've really brought together an impressive group of individuals that have a lot of experience and existing connections in the Canadian exploration and mining field. Now the last thing I wanted to talk about was that merger with Nevada Vanadium, which combines utility-scaled vanadium batteries with EV nickel batteries in one of the top jurisdictions in the world. And as you can see here, Flying Nickel to acquire all of the issued and outstanding common shares of Nevada Vanadium as part of the transaction, and it'll be a 1-to-1 exchange, one Flying Nickel share for each Nevada share held, representing the equivalent of 16 cents per Nevada Vanadium share. And for those of you who are unaware, vanadium is a rare, hard, ductile, gray-white element found combined in certain minerals and used mainly to produce certain alloys. So this opens up the potential for future opportunities down the road and additional catalysts for Flying Nickel. So for those reasons, you guys, this one is definitely worth a look if you're looking for exposure to the battery metals exploration and mining sector, specifically here in North America and Canada. There's a lot going on with this organization and the potential to be one of the first producers bringing nickel to market. As we saw in the intro, the demand for nickel is expected to grow exponentially over the next few decades as we see the adoption of electric vehicles and new energy storage solutions implemented around the world. I'd be super curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, specifically if you're already holding shares of Flying Nickel Mining Corporation. If you're still watching the video at this point, hopefully you found some value, so make sure you hit the like button. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to join. We'd love to have you as part of the community. That's all for now, and we'll see you in the next video.